Senator Budd.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you both for being here. Thanks to your families as well for your long service and you're willing to continue in service in these unique and important roles. Mr. Cadenazzi, and we'll just go with sir, right, for you, right, since we've had all the challenges of pronunciation. On April 4th of this year, China's Ministry of Commerce, they imposed export restrictions on 7 rare earth elements and magnets. So given our ongoing heavy reliance on China for many of these rare earths, there's an increasingly unacceptable level of risk to our ability to produce everything from planes to munitions. The United States should have created a rare earth supply chain independent of China a decade ago. Companies like Vulcan Elements, which is a rare earth magnet manufacturer that's fully decoupled from China and is based in North Carolina, they're attempting to do just that, but efforts need to accelerate and accelerate at scale. So in your advanced policy questions, you discussed your intent to leverage the DPA, or the Defense Production Act, as well as the Industrial Base Analysis and Sustainment, or the IBAS, to support private sector investment in our defense industrial base. So if confirmed, how will you leverage these authorities to end our reliance on China for rare earths?
Senator, this is a critical opportunity for the country to go ahead and increase its ability to develop domestic resources and decrease our reliance on China within the industrial base. If confirmed, I'm eager to work with this committee with you on the issues associated with the application of DPA and IBAS as direct opportunities to increase our investment into the domestic mineral production chain. I believe DPA and IBAS collectively invested over $540 million into these resource developments ever so the past few years. We can continue that. We should. There are other additional capabilities we should explore, partnership with allies to go ahead and secure additional resources and increase production capabilities, recycling. There's numerous strategies which are available to us to go ahead and take advantage of this time in this window where there's some sense of urgency about it. Before we lose that sense of urgency, I believe we need to make real initiatives and real effort to go ahead and close the gap. So if confirmed, Senator, it's an exciting opportunity and time for us to help on that.
Thank you for that answer. So if confirmed, will you commit to working with not only this committee, but also the Banking Committee to make improvements to the DPA?
Absolutely, Senator.
Thank you. The Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S., or CFIUS, is also primarily within the banking jurisdiction, but the Department of Defense and the Industrial Base Policy Office in particular play an important role in reviews conducted by the committee. I frequently hear folks from North Carolina, including those at our military installations in North Carolina, with concerns about foreign investment, specifically from China near military installations. So do you see a need for the DoD to improve engagement on the topic of foreign investment risk to national security?
Senator, thank you for the question. This is a critical topic and one that's at the top of the list for the Industrial Base Policy Office currently. The CFIUS office, the associated authorities around identification of adversarial capital and adversarial companies, Chinese companies, working in the defense industrial base is a top priority for the office. All those issues around purchasing of land and those sort of things around military installations. This is something that I think requires additional resourcing to look at. I believe that those issues are understaffed relative to the demand to look at all the transactions that are potentially high risk. If confirmed, I'm eager to work with you and the committee to understand, the other committees, to understand what can be done to bring additional scrutiny to bear on this topic and what we can do to resource the analysis that's required.
Thank you. You mentioned additional resources. I think that's important. Do you see bottlenecks of the DoD's engagement on this issue?
Senator, I'm not aware of any particular bottlenecks that currently exist. I'm aware that there's a significant number of transactions that have been looked at, and there's a belief generally that there's a need for more. However, I can't comment specifically on what the scale of that gap is. And if confirmed, I'm eager to understand and work with you to understand what is additional resources would be required to close any gap relative to the risk exposure we're willing to tolerate.
Thank you for that. Admiral, a question, this is different than SMRs, which are often talked about, but what are your views on using modular microreactors as an expeditionary power source, and how do you balance their adoption with security and the concern about proliferation?
Thank you, Senator. If confirmed, obviously there's
significant potential with microreactors and what we could do with those, either in civilian or military application. Certainly, if confirmed, I will work with the NNSA administrator and the Secretary of Energy to make sure that we are, properly monitoring and overseeing what we would do with those microreactors to make sure we don't have a non-proliferation condition.
Thank you both for your time, Chairman.